Now, I'd like you to talk about something together for about 3 minutes. Here are some photographs that show some ideas for attracting more visitors to a holiday resort. First, talk to each other about how these ideas would attract more tourists and then decide which idea would be the best one. All right?
All right. Well, shall we start with building a marina? Okay.
Try to initiate the discussion. You can do this by saying, why don't we start by? Let's begin with, we could start by talking about, shall we first?
Well, shall we start with building a marina?
Okay.
Well, in my opinion, this could be a good option because it attracts wealthy people to the city. What do you...
I completely agree because they need to buy some food, water, petrol.
The examiners want to see you pick up and develop some of your partner's ideas. Here are some phrases to help you do so. I completely agree because, I hadn't thought of that. We could also, that's a good idea. And,
What do you...
I completely agree because they need to buy some food, water, petrol, so can spend some time in the resort. Do you think that cleaning the beach could be a good idea? I really think so.
I think that's a good point because, in my opinion, having the environment clean is very important to attract people to your country. So, also people from the north who are looking for sunny places. And what about building new hotels?
you don't have a lot of time in part 3, so it's important to keep the discussion moving by using phrases such as, what about this one? What do you make of it? Let's move on to the next picture. Moving on to the next picture. Shall we move on to the next picture?
And what about building new hotels?
I think it's very important because you need to offer some choices to tourists, and you also need lots of places if you want to have more people in your
I
beach.
totally agree with you.
And I do think that improving the nightlife is an important point in a resort because you need to offer some fun at night also.
Yes, and in addition, it attracts young people too. So, and people from this country. So it will be great. And what about having buses that goes directly to the airport? I think that's cheap and that's a good option.
Yeah, I see your point. I think
Remember to respond positively to your partner. Other ways of doing this include, I'll go along with that. That's a good point. I couldn't agree more. I think so too. I don't think so either.
Yeah, I see your point. I think paying lots of money by taxi journeys is not good at all. And this one, I think this is a bar near to the beach. I think it's really important because when you're at the beach, you just want to drink and eat, and you don't want to go to the hotel to buy
Yes,
whatever you want.
and to my mind, you can enjoy the sea, but also you can enjoy music and have a drink. So that's great. And shall we move on to answer the question?
Don't forget to leave enough time to discuss the second question. To bring the discussion to an end, you can say, so let's decide which. Shall we make a decision? Let's move on to the second question. Shall we move on to answer the question?
And shall we move on to answer the question? Well, in my opinion, cleaning the beach and keeping the environment clean.
Rather than repeatedly saying, I think, to express opinions, you could use, the way I see it, as far as I'm concerned, if you ask me, to my mind.
Well, in my opinion, cleaning the beach and keeping the environment clean is the best choice because people from the north, well, they come here to enjoy the beach and having a good time.
And to get really burned.
Yes.
I see your point, but I think to improve the nightlife is also important because
If you disagree with your partner, try to do so politely by saying, I see what you mean, however, I agree up to a point, although. But don't you agree that? That's one way of looking at it, on the other hand.
Yes.
I see your point, but I think to improve the nightlife is also important because people have to have some fun at night also. Do you agree?
Remember to discuss each picture in as much detail as possible. Here are some other phrases which you could use. What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about that? Don't you think so? What do you reckon?
Do you agree?
Well, I can see your point, but I think that if people want nightlife, they have it in their own cities. So I think that is the environment and natural places that really attracts people to a country.
Totally. I think you're right because that's the only thing that can attract people to a resort.
Try to reach an agreement on the second question, but don't worry if it isn't possible. Some useful expressions include, I'll go along with you because. So are we agreed that? Which do you think is the most important one? Perhaps this one should go first as.
Totally. I think you're right because that's the only thing that can attract people to a resort.
To my mind, it's the best option.
That's right. I agree.
Thank you.